People are forgetting about a team with really good basketball players, and that team's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. All right. Now, actually, earlier today, Markieff Morris was like, he made some crazy analogy about, ex-wives, going back to ex-wives. Something he threw out a crazy ass analogy, but basically his point was this: the Brooklyn Nets last season were soft. If you watched my videos last year, those were my exact words with Brooklyn. They were way too soft, and they were not deep at all. There just wasn't enough talent on that basketball roster. So what did they do in the offseason? Well, they did some money-making moves, man. I can't begin to tell you what TJ Warren is going to be able to do for you. Markieff Morris, Royce O'Neal, Yuta Watanabe. What are all four of those basketball players solid at? Defense. What was Brooklyn pretty desperate with last season? Defense. So, you also can't forget Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are on this basketball team. You also can't forget that the arrival of Ben Simmons, who is a career 15-8-7 basketball player, all NBA defensive player, all-star, possibly a future MVP. He's going to be running a small ball five. He is going to be a point forward. You can do so much stuff with Ben Simmons and how good he is on both sides of the court. And the cherry on top is that he is going to be shooting threes. And I know we've had this discussion every single offseason, but if that is true, that is a complete and utter game changer. So, welcome back to the channel, man. Clearly, we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys enjoy it. Let's try and hit 100 likes on today's video. I'm going to make a ton of Brooklyn Net videos all season because they're fun to watch, man. Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Kessler Edwards, Kevin Durant, Nicholas Claxton, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, Edmund Sumner, TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, Markieff Morris, Yuta Watanabe, Ben Simmons, and Day'Ron Sharpe is a championship caliber roster. And it's mainly because you still have Kyrie Irving 27-4-6 and Kevin Durant 37-6. If both of those two cats can stay healthy, I'm not too worried about Ben Simmons' longevity or his health status. He's fully healthy. He's ready to go. I am not worried or concerned about Ben Simmons getting injured again. This team will be, most likely, if, like I said, if they stay healthy, a home seed top three. I mean, literally top three at worst. People are forgetting about the Brooklyn Nets, man. They're forgetting about them. And, I don't even want to speak too much on the past. I don't even really want to speak too much about Steve Nash. He's definitely not my favorite basketball coach in the league. I'm rooting for him. I hope he can become a great basketball head coach in the league. But as kind of KD was saying, he needs to hold the players more accountable. If somebody is playing bad, they need to play better. And they need to know that. And they know that as well. But you just got to hold these players more accountable, hold them to more responsibility because it is a team effort. Just because you have Kyrie, just because you have Kevin Durant doesn't mean you're an automatic shoo-in to not only make the NBA playoffs, make the NBA finals. You're not a just automatic shoo-in. You still need your role players to step up and to do their jobs. And like I said, man, I think they had a sneaky, very sneaky offseason. Because a lot of the thought was, they traded away James Harden, which was kind of not a failure in its own regard, but it was kind of a failure. The whole the James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, big three. You got Ben Simmons, which is a phenomenal piece that people they clown Ben too much because he plays video games and he's injured. And that's literally it. These guys have lives. You're going to play video games. You're going to take your dog out for a walk. You're going to go shopping. He gets so much hate for no reason because when you really look at Ben Simmons' stats, which let's just pull up right now, this guy is an absolute menace. And guess what? He just turned 26 years old. This is, like I said, career 16-8-8 player, even better. 1.7 steals a night, I mean, just get ready for this, man. Just get ready for this Brooklyn Nets team because they've got the potential. But like I said, like I was getting into, the depth here is the really big standout to me. You know, I looked at Brooklyn last season and I'm like, all right, once Kyrie Irving, once the whole, I don't even think you're supposed to say the word on YouTube, which is crazy. Once that whole shenanigans were not even over, but like a little bit better and he was able to actually play basketball, he was balling out. We know Kyrie Irving is a walking bucket. Keep in mind, this is a contract year as well. So Kyrie has even more inclination thinking, all right, I'm 32 years old. I just had a 27-4-6 season. This is probably the last big payday, the last bigger contract that I'm going to get in my career. So I expect Kyrie Irving to hover right around 30 points per game. I really think that's what he'll hover around. You know, I don't really need to explain to you guys how good Kyrie Irving is, but you know, when Kyrie came back and you have KD and you have Kyrie, it was like, all right, this team is good. But you looked at their depth, which I can actually pull up right here. You looked at their depth and it just wasn't much. You know, anytime I have Blake Griffin playing basketball for me, it's, you know, there's no fear. There's no fear factor. There wasn't even that much fear 6-8 years ago. So there, you know, there's that. Goran's a good basketball player. Bruce Brown Jr., we should probably talk about his departure a little bit. Well, the Bruce Brown Jr. departure was a tough blow. All right, that was a very tough blow. However, you have another phenomenal 3-and-D specialist who can do everything. It's not like he can only shoot threes, he's actually kind of like a jack of all trades. He's what's that utility tool word that I'm looking for? I can't even think of it, but you get the point. Royce O'Neal last season with Utah, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's going to knock down 35% of his threes. Royce O'Neal is another one of those versatile defenders, versatile offensive player where you just feel like, God forbid, an injury were to occur to the starting lineup or Royce might come in. He might be a starter, very well could be, very well should be. You just feel much better about their depth. You know, I feel better about Royce O'Neal, Markieff Morris, even Yuta Watanabe, definitely TJ Warren coming in and filling in for a starter or just needing to be a little bit more heavily relied on because of an injury or whatever the case may be than I will with LaMarcus Aldridge, than I will with a Blake Griffin. So Brooklyn they're deep. They're finally deep. And, you know, don't even forget about absolute studs like Patty Mills. And even if they still want to make a decision, if we get to the trade deadline and they're like, all right, you know what, we need to do something more, you still have tradable assets. So we'll see what happens with Brooklyn, but I'm going to go ahead and call it. They're a top 3 seed. They're 100% in my brain a top 3 seed. So let me know what you guys are thinking about the Brooklyn Nets. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you guys want to check out the Twitter down below, or just type in Jackson Elstro on Twitter, and I post tweets there. So